Hey guys, and welcome to this first lesson on TinkerCad. And so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be learning how to design some circuits using this program. So the first thing I need you to do is when you log in, you should see that you're part of the class. Then you're going to be going into circuits, and I want you to go to create a new circuit. Okay? So the first thing that we're going to be going over is kind of where everything is located. So if you've never used TinkerCad before, so over here on the right-hand side, you see components. And so as you scroll down, you're going to see that you have all of your different components that you can work with. And then when you click on the menu options, you can see that you can look at starters, right? So when we go to Arduino starters, it will show you different types of Arduino setups that you can choose. And you can also look at circuit assemblies, right? So you can look at a glow circuit assemblies, the spin circuit, and the move circuits. So we're going to start off by going into just basic circuits. The other thing that I want you to pay attention to is up here on the menu, we have code. And so when we hit code, once we start putting our circuits together, you're going to see that it gives you the code that you would need to actually program your Arduino microprocessor. Okay. And so the other thing that is up here inside of our menu is the wires. So when we click on this wire menu right here, you can see the drop down on normal, hookup, alligator, automatic, and you can also choose the color of your wire. Okay, so most of the colors that we're going to be choosing in this tutorial are going to be red and black based on the positive and negative signs. Okay, and you also have rotate, so you can rotate your pieces as you put them in. And so let's do a basic circuit here. So starting off, let's go ahead and put this 9-volt battery. All you're going to do is just drag it out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit rotate. We're going to rotate that 9-volt battery so it's looking like that. We'll adjust out. So if you're using a mouse, you can go in and out so you can make your sizes bigger. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to bring an LED light. Okay, and so what we're going to do is demonstrating how you can use resistors to make sure that you don't blow your components. Okay, so we're going to use an LED light. And then as we look at this 9-volt, we can see that we have a positive terminal and a negative terminal. And then on the LED, you also have a positive and negative. So this is the cathode is going to be your negative side. So we're going to be doing negative to negative. And then your anode is your positive side. So we're going to be doing positive to positive. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to connect our positive side first. And so what we're going to do is come up here. We're going to have our normal wire. We're going to choose red, and we're going to draw this wire from positive to positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw it this way. I'm going to bring it over this way, here, here to my anode, and then we can bring this down. Okay, so that's my positive first, and now I'm going to draw my negative. So I'm going to demonstrate how you really do need a resistor, right? So we're going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this over a little bit, then bring it up here. And again, we can bring this over, okay? And so now we have our positives, our negatives connected, and when we hit start simulation, you're going to see something happen, right? And it shows right here that the current LED through the LED is 915 amps, while the absolute maximum is 20 amps. And so what we need to do to fix this is a resistor. Okay, and so this is why resistors are very important when we're looking at circuits. And so what we're going to do is we're going to bring this resistor out, and we're actually going to be putting our resistor inside of our positive line. So we're going to go ahead and choose that. We're going to delete that positive line. We're going to put our resistor right here. And again, we're going to be choosing the red wire for our positive. And so now we're going to go positive to the terminal 1. And then we're going to go from terminal 2 up to our anode, bring this down. And so now when we click on this, and remember, look at this resistor, the resistance is only 1, okay? When we click start simulation, the light lights up, okay? Now we can change the resistance on this, and I'm going to show you this right now. And so when we change this, we're going to put a 560 ohm resistor. Hit enter, and you can see when we do that, it changes the colors based on the resistance, right? So this is a 560 ohm resistor. When we hit start and stop simulation now, you can see that our brightness of our LED went down. That's because it is stopping more current, right? Because before we were only stopping 1 ohm, now we're stopping 560 ohms. So we're stopping more current coming from that positive into our LED, okay? So what I want to do is go back over here. We're going to change this back to 1. Hit start simulation. And so this is what you're going to screenshot for your first example, okay? So you're going to screenshot this. Before we screenshot, we're going to come up here and change it to basic circuit, okay? So that's going to save it into our files. And so now you're going to screenshot this, and this is what you're going to submit in basic circuit 1. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and delete some of this. Right, we're going to go ahead and select these pieces right here, and we're going to delete everything. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add a breadboard into our circuit. So come over here and you're going to find a breadboard, select it, and click it in. Now it may take a second for it to show up. Okay, so once it shows up, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this around. So we're going to go over here to our rotate. We're going to rotate it around. And so with a breadboard, it's a tool that you can use to build circuit, and it's used to prototype. And so when we look at this breadboard, you're going to see that we have a positive line, we have a negative line on both sides. We also have numbered cells and we have lettered cells, right? So this right here is our prototype area. Here is where we're going to be connecting our positive and negative lines, and we're also going to be connecting our resistors. Okay guys, so now what we're going to do is we're going to build a basic circuit using this breadboard. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to have a resistor. So we're going to pull this out right here. We're going to rotate this resistor around, and we're going to put this as a 560 ohm resistor. And what we're going to do is we're going to be placing this on from our positive to our A1 terminal. So you can see here, positive to A1. Then the next thing we have to do is our LED that we're going to put here in the middle. And so with the LED, you have your anode, which is your positive side, and you have your cathode, which is your negative side. In TinkerCad, there's no way for me to flip this, but this anode has to go to this side and the cathode has to go to this side. So how I'm going to do that is the cathode is the negative, so I'm going to have my negative wire. So I'm going to go here down to my F1, and then I'm going to change, well, let's do this. Let's select off that. Let's go ahead and change it to red, and then I'm going to take my anode, I'm going to go down to the E1. Okay, so now we have our resistor in place, we have our LED in place, and so now what we have to do is we have to connect our negative line, right? And so like I said before, this is positive, this is negative, this is also positive and negative, so we're going across the board. This is our area that we're using as our project area. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to get a negative line. So let's go ahead up and go get the black wire. And so we're going to go from this point, which is going to be J1, to our negative line. So you can see that how the negative line is highlighted. So we're going to connect that there. Now the next thing we have to do is connect our power source. So far we have our resistor in place, we have our LED in place, we have our connecting line in place. Now we're going to have our power source. We're going to rotate this power source around so it looks like this. I'm going to bring it onto this side. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be connecting my positives and my negative terminals, right? And so over here you can see that we have our positive and our negative. Since the negative is highlighted right now, we're going to start with negative. And so I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to come around my battery, and I'm going to bring it all the way down. I'm going to connect it into my negative terminal line. Okay, so now this is connected into my negative terminal line on my breadboard. I click off that. Now I'm going to go over here to my red wire, and now I'm going to connect to my positive terminal. So make sure that you have your positive terminal selected. And so now I'm going to bring this down. Let me bring it over here first so that way it's clear. And I'm going to bring it all the way over to my positive line on this side. Okay. Now once I have this in place, now when I hit start simulation, it should show me, okay, you can see it's faintly lit. And so let's go ahead and go over to this resistor again. We're going to put this back down to 1 ohm. And now when we hit start simulation, you're going to see a nice bright light. And so this is a complete circuit. And if we took off any of these connecting lines, any of these wires, it would break the circuit. And so what I want to name this is going to be basic. And then we're going to name this breadboard circuit. Okay. And then you're going to take a screenshot of this, and that's what you're going to be putting as your second screenshot inside today's assignment. Okay, so now that we have the basic breadboard done, we're going to do one more for today. So what I want to do is I want to select all of this. I'm going to trash it all. And so what we're going to do now is we've learned a basic circuit. We've learned a circuit with a breadboard. And so now we're going to learn one with the Arduino. Okay, so the Arduino, when we select it, and so when we look at the Arduino, you can see that we have a couple of different things. One, we have the on and off switch. Two, we have the USB port that connects to our microprocessor. Up here, we have a ground port, and then we have numbered ports from 13 down to 0. Okay, these are going to be where we connect our wires for our connections, and then we always have to have our ground, which is going to be connected to our negative wire. Okay, you can see on this side right here, we also have our power and analog, which we'll get to in a later lecture. So starting off with our ground and our numbered ports up here, we're going to do the same thing that we did before with a basic LED. And so let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. We're going to recenter this. And so we're coming back over here. We're getting our LED again. Okay. And then we're going to get a resistor, because we do need a resistor again. And let's put that right here. And so we're going to do a really basic LED. And what we're also going to be doing is looking at the code. And so from here, from our cathode, that's where we have to go to our ground. So we're going to come back over, change it to black, to ground, select off, then select red. And we're going to go from our anode to terminal 2, terminal 1, and we're just going to connect it into our number 13. And now when we hit start simulation, we're going to see that the LED starts going, right? We're going to name this one as basic Arduino circuit. And what I want you guys to also do is you're also going to look at the code. Okay, and so now that we have this set right here, what I want you guys to do is go over here to the code. And so in TinkerCad, it's set up just like Scratch language, right? So block language again. And you can see how simple this code is, right? So set build in LED to high, wait 1 second, set built-in LED to low, and then wait 1 second. Now this is, again, block language. We are going to be going into the actual Arduino coding language, which is Python, in a later video. But this is all that you need to have for today. So this is our third screenshot that you're going to take. You're going to have the code open. You're going to take this screenshot here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this first lesson in Arduino. We learned a basic circuit. We learned a basic circuit with a breadboard. And then we learned a basic circuit with our Arduino microprocessor. If you have questions, please talk to your teacher, and I'll talk to you guys later.